do you think you could sit in your chair, even when it depends on, and just pee?
I don't know, man.
Knowingly
Yes.
pee, like...
Yeah, have you ever swam down a river? Nick, you and I did the Saco float like 2 years ago. We could pee ourselves.
I peed the whole time.
Welcome to the Spin Dash Retro Gaming Podcast. Prepare yourself for the joy of classic gaming. Fired straight into your delicate little ear holes. Fire away.
Okay. Happy holidays from our weird little Spin Dash cohort to all our listeners. Thank you for actually still tuning in. We know you're bored during this pandemic. Let us make you feel better about yourselves that you aren't us. In this groundbreaking episode, we boldly tried to get our PCs to play a game made for Windows 95, and then resorted to buying retrofitted versions from a reputable source online instead. I'm talking about one of my most played games, Warcraft 2. I'm your host, John the Unworthy. With me, I have Matt the Gaslighter and Nick Ghoul the Chairlord.
Chairlord.
Arr.
We've been away for a bit of a holiday break, and this episode is our last of the roller coaster year of the Dark Portal 2020. Cue dramatic music.
Oh, man. Burn 2020, baby. Burn it to the ground.
Brutal. Although, you know, it resurrected this podcast, to be honest. If we weren't as sequestered, I don't really know what the word is. Quarantined? Yeah, I guess it's overused. But I don't think we would have done this.
Well, so you know, I want to chalk it up to Nick. And I think Nick is the reason why. I think Nick was hounding us to get this started because I think you and I were kind of just like, I don't know about that. And Nick's like, no, we got to get back to this. Nick, so we recorded some of this already and our computers have crashed. And Nick, you had a good point as to why you wanted to get back into podcasting. Could you share that with us?
Well, being quarantined, you start not want to talk to your loved ones. You know, you gotta get want to talk to someone else, to human beings. And in my case, you know, my wife and kids. It's just like, I like, you know what? Let me talk to my friends that are, you know, long distance, which chit chat about something that we constantly want to love. And it was something we started, and I think it's just a great break from everything that is going on into the world. I mean, it sucks, you know, everyone's like, I have no problem staying home. This will be fine. I don't have to go to work. I don't have to go into this. And I think we're all finding, you know, and missed all this pandemic shit, that's not the case. We are very social creatures. I think even the people that are typically introverts are actually become more extroverts now because they don't want to stay around everything. So, yeah, I figure why not start this up. I think it was a good way for us to connect and really get into something that we can love and enjoy, even if when some of us pick shitty games. John.
Oh, man.
Each one of us has had a questionable pick this year.
I don't believe that. I had.
Okay, yours was before this, so there you go.
I've got some doozies coming up for you, John. I'm real excited about it.
I don't want to know the password to your secret sex dungeon, so just leave me out of
It's 1,
this.
2, 3, 4. It's don't
That's
worry about
pretty
it.
easy.
Hey, we didn't talk about what we're drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Nick, what are you drinking?
I'm grandpa in it tonight. Something's not settling right with my stomach, so I am drinking Schweppes ginger ale. Future sponsor, possibly. Schweppes, if you're listening.
Is your stomach upset because you thought of shotgunning a Foster's and then it
I
just
actually
turned
completely
against
forgot I
you?
was doing that until you brought it up, literally 10 minutes before we started recording.
Because that's happened to you before. You get all nervous about binge drinking.
The thought, just the thought of you having to drink a lot makes you feel ill.
Okay. You make me sound like I'm a little bitch, but do I always succeed or fulfill that I'm going to be drinking?
You do pony up.
You always try. It's good.
And I stay by this day that the second to last Foster's, I held down pretty good.
Somewhere there's video evidence of that.
You're kind of
I
like
held it for a solid 30 seconds before puking it back up on the disc golf field.
You're like the Thomas
For
Edison.
a man that eats as fast
the
as
Thomas Edison of chugging Fosters. Like you haven't failed 1,000 times. You just found 999 ways to not chug a Foster's. That's all.
Next episode, which will be technically my episode, I will shotgun the Fosters.
You're gonna need it because I'm gonna unload on you for that game.
I want to unload on myself for that game.
Yeah.
But enough about that game. Let's talk about your game.
We gotta say what Matt's drinking.
Fine, Matt, what are you drinking?
So here's the thing.
Okay, let's move on.
Here's the thing, right? So I went upstairs and I was like, I gotta pour myself a drink. And then I was like, what do I have to mix with it? What is this? It's like, that's too much work. I was like, I'll just grab a beer. Well, I thought we were going to record last week, so I drank all my beer. So the only thing left in the fridge was a bunch of ciders that Nikki had. So I'm like, I'm going to take a cider. I haven't done a cider yet. So I have a original blend Downey cider. I'm very basic tonight, and I don't care.
Hey. That's good stuff, man. I like that a lot.
It's tasty. It's very appley.
Yep.
Yourself, sir?
I grabbed the last of the bottle of the Malbec, the red wine that was sitting there from this weekend when we had some fancy dinners.
We missed
It's not my favorite.
We missed our chance on the Senti episode to comment on our top, awards of the year or something like that. I'd award you most fancy. You consistently are showing up to these with very fancy, high-class drinks. You're basically our aristocrat.
I try. I married a fancy lady, so I gotta up my game with her. She kind of frowns upon having twisted tea in the house, so...
You married the heiress to the
By the way,
ketchup packet design.
Speaking of twisted tea, John, have you already drank that twisted tea I gave you?
Oh, yeah, that was gone.
Boy.
I get twisted tea and pizza rolls on Sundays to watch football. So that's compromise that exists in my household.
And then the rest of it's just caviar and port, 30-year-old port. Is that what it is?
Oh man, that would be delicious.
So fancy.
Yeah. Game of the week / month / holiday, I don't know how long it's been, is Warcraft 2. Gentlemen?
Game to teach you how to be a
Nick,
real
what
American.
is your history? Yeah?
How to
What'd you do?
deforest, take the black gold, as it is called, and mine to the point where we have no more precious metals. That was me. I thought I was living a life of Dallas.
Just picture Nick sitting there in his boxers with a cowboy hat playing Warcraft. Yeehaw!
Give me that oil.
Yeah,
No,
I was a resource whore.
I like that you valued the resources over the main goal to crush your opponent. It's a good twist.
Well, I think because I never actually played this game ever before until it was our game pick.
Yeah, it kind of got overshadowed by StarCraft and Warcraft 3 back when we were early teenagers, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't have a PC until I was a senior in high school.
Oh, yeah, that would do it too.
So I didn't play any real computer games, and I think the computer game like you actually already said was StarCraft, StarCraft 2, and Diablo 2. Well, actually, Diablo 2 Diablo 2 was probably the one I played well into my even college years.
Put it on the list.
Huzzah!
That's a good game.
Yeah.
That'll be a long one.
No, I do have...
Matt, what do you got?
Matt.
Oh, sorry, Nick.
I was just saying, it was, I did miss out on this game, but I think the miss out was I didn't get to enjoy it for when it did come out at that age and mindset.
That's how I felt with this one. I have never owned this game, and I don't think I have ever played it, although I don't really know. It's weird. Like when we fired this up, I was like, I feel like I've played this before, but it might just because it's such an important like real time strategy. Like it's so important in the genre that maybe I just like feel like I've played it because I've played other games that have spawned from it or used it as an influence. I don't know. It just I've never owned this, but it felt familiar the entire time I was playing it. So no experience on my end officially.
I think StarCraft and Warcraft 3 and a lot of... I mean, when I was doing my research on this game, they did say that they borrowed quite a bit from Westwood Studios, which did Command and Conquer.
And
so there are a lot of shared mechanics in these strategy games from the 90s.
That was one I played the shit out of. Command and Conquer. I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah. I played a bit of that after this. So I definitely have the most history with this game because I got it in like the 4th grade a little bit after it came out, and my friend and I, he got it and then I got it, and we played against each other on our modems, which was hilarious because we'd have to call each other and then hang up and then try to dial each other and not have another person in the house pick up the phone because it would interrupt it, and you'd hear crazy, somebody going, our parents were older. Yeah. Oh man, it was brutal.
I miss early.
But it was a lot of fun because that was the first online experience of battling against your friends. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I have to wonder if this was one of the I know playing against people are like playing Doom mods, I think, against each other. So, what was that, 92-ish, I think, Doom? 93? I can't really remember. But this had to have been one of the earliest online games that you were playing like this. Like, this had to be right on the forefront of it.
Yeah. Warcraft 1 didn't have this. I don't know if the Command and Conquers probably didn't either.
I think they did. So, I think Command and Conquer did.
Oh, okay. I didn't research that fact. So
I think it was. I think Warcraft 1 didn't, and I think Warcraft 2 maybe it did, and you could like play games over modem, and then I think it was re-released later on with a BattleNet version, and I think that's the one that
BattleNet was big.
With.
Yep. Sorry guys, I think my medicine ran out, so I'm going to start coughing.
COVID.
Got to chug my NyQuil.
See, I didn't get into Warcraft. Let me phrase. I got the first Warcraft game I actually had was Warcraft 3, The Frozen Throne, and that's thanks to my friend in high school who let me borrow it, and I never returned it, and I never even played it. And then when I actually started playing in this franchise was when World of Warcraft came out.
And I think you had suggested that we play that as a game in the future, and then I think I subsequently threatened to quit the podcast if World of Warcraft was on the table.
Come on, Matt. Everyone wants to know what we think of WoW.
Ugh. It's amazing how far they've taken this world. Like, it went from a real-time strategy over to an MMO. It's quite the evolution.
Yeah, from 94, and it's still a popular franchise even now. I mean, Blizzard as a company does great things. I mean, the first Blizzard game I actually played was Blackthorn on SNES.
Are you serious? That's your first Blizzard game?
That was my first Blizzard game.
One thing that's really weird that I don't think a lot of people realize is that, like, Blizzard did some weird stuff before they're primarily known as, like, for their stuff on PC and Mac, whatnot, but But they did some weird console stuff. Like I want to say, like Blackthorn was definitely a Blizzard title. Lost Vikings, I think, is another title they did. And then is Rock and Roll Racing? I'll have to look that up. For some reason,
yeah, Rock and Roll Racing is the other one. Yeah,
it is another one. So like they were doing stuff on the Super Nintendo, around this time or before this, before this,
because Blackthorn came out. I want to say like 92.
I don't know.
Actually, no. I'm just double checking. 94.
I think it's late. I think it's late because they had a 32X release too. So I think Blackthorn was
it came out 94, September of 94.
Yeah, so yeah, they were doing console stuff.
I mean that's probably a good thing. I mean they doubled in to see what was going to hit it off best for them.
Things you don't realize. I never knew about that game.
Well, they had their Rock and Roll Racing was their first game. Came out in 93. So yeah, I mean it's fun. We'll have to add. So we'll have to do like a Blizzard tour, as it were.
Diablo 2. John, what do you have? What do you have for the history on this one? Because I know we started going about like when it was released and all that other stuff, and then our computers died, so I don't want to leave that behind.
Yeah. So this was made by Blizzard, obviously. It was Warcraft 2: Tides of Darkness. It was a follow-up to Warcraft 1, which was put out in December of 94, and didn't really gain traction until a couple months later. And then the studio realized how popular it was, so they told the developers to put out a sequel in less than a year. And they got it, and the sequel crushed it. Like, these guys expanded on a whole lot of things. And, I mean, I found a website that listed how many awards this game actually got, and it's crazy. It has, like, 20 awards, and it made it into the Hall of Fame, like, right away. They brought in a lot of the same crew and, utilized a lot of the same principles and just expanded on things. They brought in the sea travel aspect. I think they started with the BattleNet shortly after.
Dying.
Sorry, guys. I'm dying. And, they compounded on what they already had, and they upped the graphics. Brought in the same. I love the narration. They brought in the same narrator, and I was reading that he did the original with no script. He just made it up. They brought him in the recording booth, and they're like, "Have at it." And this guy went on a tear. And the next game, Warcraft 2, they recruited some guys to write a story and some development, and he recorded a really good narration. Like this game, the cutscenes with the mission statements, if you will, those were great.
Yeah, the voices as a whole cracked me up on this one. Just and we could talk about that later when we get into some of the mechanics and stuff, because it definitely was interesting. One thing that cracked me up about this is how early of a title this was for like real-time strategies. I don't know. We're used to turn-based RPGs, had been around forever. I don't know. It's weird to me to think of that a new genre of gaming, really came out in the mid '90s. I mean, that's pretty crazy when you think about how relatively new this is. From what I could tell, and I did a little bit of digging, and I think it's somewhat debated on what the first real time strategy game is. There's a game that was like on PC. The game was on DOS, and it was on Genesis as well, called Herzog Zwei. Freak that up. 1989. Then I think the one that's kind of like the start of all this is Dune 2 Battle for Arrakis, which was in 92. And that was made that was made by Westwood, who would go on to make Command and Conquer. But like I watched videos because I've never played Dune 2, And it's weird. You can see how Warcraft evolved out of it, and you could also see how Command and Conquer evolved out of it. It's like this evolutionary tree, and like Dune 2 is the base of it. And it's amazing. Like in this small window of time, like all these like extremely important real-time strategy games came out. Like both the Warcraft games, and then like Command and Conquer Red Alert, like all within like maybe a 2-3 year window, like cram-packed.
Mid-90s were good for real-time strategy.
Looks like, so I'm doing, like, the first debate, I guess, would be 1981, Utopia. Looks like to be the first.
Is it a strategy, though, or a sim? Because I know they were talking, like, early on.
It was described as a RTS.
Really?
Real-time strategy genre.
Well, then I will fuck right off.
I mean, but, like, that's all, that's DOS days, so you're typing in your commands versus what we have now today. So I guess, I don't think really, it didn't really start taking off until way later on, until, the early 90s.
I know they didn't have a term for what this was until Dune 2. They kind of made it up. Because I think they were just like, it's kind of like SimCity, but you attack each other while playing SimCity.
Yeah.
And then
there were a lot of weird early ones.
Dune 2, Dune 2, The Building of a Dynasty.
Oh, that's what it was. That was Battle of Arrakis, but you're right. I think that is the name.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
So, John, lead us. Tell us about this game. Mechanics, story, all that fun.
So the story kind of plays off the original, and apparently the movie. So
the movie,
Warcraft 1, right? The movie.
There's a movie
with my hero Travis Fimmel.
What?
Anyway, sorry guys. Warcraft the movie. They made a movie about Warcraft.
Like when?
Like 2016, I think. Yeah. It has a couple famous people in it.
I don't believe you. Keep going.
Was it directed by you, Bull?
Anyway, no, he was rumored to be in it, and he didn't. He passed it up.
If you Bull, this movie must be trash. If you
so
Bull
bad.
turned it down, you know it's trash.
It's so bad. Anyway, so Warcraft 1 exists. They had a whole backstory, right? And you read the manual, because I remember having this game, and I looked it up. I found the PDF. There's like a 4-page backstory, chronological, paragraphs per certain amount of years about the kingdom, blah, blah, blah. You have an old medieval kingdom, and a sorcerer gets corrupted and brings the evil orcs in, and chaos ensues. They didn't have any characters from the story in Warcraft 1. It was just you manage troops. Like, there was no heroes. There was none of that. And so Warcraft 2, they actually tried to segue some of the story in with a few heroes. But there was no, like, hero play. Like, in Warcraft 3, you get to have heroes that level up throughout the game, but this one didn't.
I think that's what threw me off about this when I first started playing it. That I didn't have a dedicated hero to take me on the journey.
Is that a separate genre? In the sense, and I'm really ignorant on real-time strategy because I'm not a strategy player, but I thought that like a real-time strategy is almost like a chess type game, right? Like you're attacking and you're moving things in real time, not turn-based, but it's you're planning out your things. And I thought games that had like the hero thing, I can't remember the name of it, Nick. You might know, but like your forces are automatically running and fighting each other, and like you're steering the heroes and the heroes attacking things. I thought that was something different. Am I fucking crazy on that?
It's still RTS. I think at least with the hero you had, I think the story was based more around the hero, and the actions and what you did with your troops was still the same. It's just you might have like the hero. The only difference, the hero was like a special unit. So I always thought it like. So I always thought coincided the Warcraft games being like. Why can't I think of the tabletop game right now?
Dungeons and Dragons?
No, tabletop. when you actually use figures, the armies.
Like Warhammer?
Warhammer. And typically in Warhammer, you actually had a hero as well that would leave. And that hero would just have, like, extra bonus stats. So they might, be like a little bit more powerful. So you would probably take him in with a group with you because he could do some extra damage, or you might add an extra ability with your other soldiers or other troop.
I know what I'm thinking of, Nick. I'm thinking of a MOBA, multiplayer online battle arena. That's the genre I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
I mean, you'll actually get what I'm talking about. They didn't do that until like Warcraft 3, where they added a hero to add bonuses. Or in I think in initial StarCraft was like Warcraft. You didn't have a hero either.
You had special units, like they were better than their type. Like they had more HP, better damage.
I think that's what was hard for me for this game was because I played it just now versus as a kid. So I played other games prior to this. So I was expecting to have more special units than what this game had to offer. Because you didn't really have many special units for this one.
How would you define what this is? Like I kind of steered us the wrong way, but like if you had to define what this game is and what it is about, what would you say it is?
It's managing battles, I guess. I guess you're the overseer general. You don't have a unit. You just have a mission where, okay, you have these guys are invading over here, or they're going to build a settlement here. You have to stop them. It's small missions, but it's very redundant, right? Like there was in the cutscenes there was continuity, and when the narrator had the little breaks in between missions where there was a text and somewhat of a story. But you didn't get to see that. Like you didn't get to play those units where they coincided. It was just, okay, you have your troops here, and it got redundant to me. Like the way I remember this game was it was a lot harder as a kid, I'll say that, You weren't as good at managing things, but I feel like it all blended together once you got off the ground. Like once you got to a certain point and you had access to all the units, it just got more and more of a grander scale until it culminated in you have to close the dark portal with the orcs, where that's the final mission as the humans, is you try to beat them back into their world, because that's the ultimate goal, is they invaded through the portal that got opened up. And then with the orcs, it was you have to overthrow civilization, and you come to their final castle and you have to wipe it out. Right? Like it's both of the races had similar missions and similar units, but on opposite sides of it.
If I remember right, the first game, the canon story is that the orcs win, and then like the humans flee. And I think this one takes it on, like the humans have like partnered with like elves and dwarves, so they're in alliance with them, and it's like their job to push back the orcs, and seal off the portal. Yep,
that's right. You get the first one, it's humans versus orcs, and then this one it's humans and elves and dwarves versus orcs and ogres and I don't know what else, dragons,
a submarine turtle.
Yeah, submarine turtle, man.
There's some things that like I didn't really understand. Like I played, you guys both played the humans, right?
Yep,
as humans or the alliance, and I played as the horde, and. There's just, and this could be true probably for your side, but there's some things like, what was it, like the Zeppelin for the orcs? I didn't get the whole reason for it.
Oh, so this gets into Fog of War. That's so
like,
yeah. So
the unit was almost useless. I understand it was made to be a scout, but like it did nothing but be a scout. So you literally had to build a building, waste resources for this one thing just to be a fucking scout. And I was like, this is pointless. It should at least be able to have some type of attack, even a minimum of something stupid, or be carrying. So I'm like, oh, I know what it was. So I built I'll build 4 of these. Like, oh, I don't need these. They do jack crap.
So yeah, but it's useful in that it can be recon. Right? Because I think that's like a central part of what a real-time strategy, like all these games have that common piece where like you're on the map and there is a bad guy you need to fight, but you can't see how the board is laid out. Like it's all blacked out. You can't see where their bases are or what they're building. So the purpose of that unit is to kind of fly around and unveil more of the map, and that's the whole reason for it. But Warcraft, I think, is different than a lot of the ones I've played, and I can't remember how StarCraft is, but like if you take your recon unit and you send them out, and then you come back, you can still see the layout of the land. But you still the fog of war. You can't see like what changes the troops have made or what they've made to their base. You really can only see the layout of the land. That was something that I had a real hard time getting adjusted to.
See, I didn't mind that because that made it actually what it is.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's actually a real-time strategy. Like, when do you actually have the ability to see exactly what the other team is doing, in a sense, through the whole time?
Well, in Command and Conquer, it made sense because you had like a comm tower, so like you had satellite imagery. So I get that, but yeah, I turned it off too, John. I was like, this is too foreign.
Just for time's sake, to get through a lot of the missions, turning it off helped. But these guys also, if you didn't have the submarines, you could send one of the recon guys with your ships. And it would pick up the submarines.
See, Nick?
Yeah.
It probably didn't help that I only made it to the second part, so.
Nope.
I found the game, John, you mentioned it was a little repetitive, and I one of my complaints, I think, with real-time strategy games as a whole is that they are repetitive, and that there's like only two types of missions I think you really can have, right? You have the one where you have a base and you need to build up and then go attack. And then you have the ones where you have no base, you just have a select number of units and you need to either like wipe out someone with that select amount of units or get to a base and then build and then attack. Like, there's only so much you can do.
That was pretty much it. Yeah. I don't know if you guys jumped into Beyond the Dark Portal, the extra missions. I did a couple of them, and there were some where you started out with, like you said, a select number of units, and you had to go and fight, small pockets of enemies and build up your army by rescuing different people or by saving a base, and it would produce a few things for you. And those extra missions introduced heroes that had more HP and more hit, more fight power. So that got a little bit better, but it was still the same, like A or B, like you said. You start with something, or you need to go somewhere and get that something. Like, they were constrained to what they had with this game in that regard.
I mean, I guess you're kind of constrained because that's what combat is, I suppose, right? I mean, you have a fortification or you don't, I guess.
Right.
I think one of the central things to this, though, is like resources. Like, central to a real-time strategy game is like resource management. And I found that I think you had mentioned to me a couple times you'd screwed yourself, and I screwed myself out of gold on one of them. I can't remember which one.
Yeah. Yep.
But
you need to. On the later missions, I found myself building up a massive army, and then trying to push that final surge, and you almost make it a couple of times, and you fall short, and then you have to rebuild because they rebuild, or you didn't wipe out everything. So
that was something I noticed.
Then you need to rely on how much money you actually have left, because you expend all the gold in the gold mine. So
this game was weird in that it had 3 resources. That was something that was different, because I was a Command and Conquer player, and like you just had Tiberium. In this, you had three things that you were trying to collect. Units cost wood and gold, so you'd have your little like either a peon on the orc side or a peasant on the human side, and like you'd send them off to harvest trees and go into mines and get gold. So that's like two of your main resources, and then like if you want to go explore, I can't remember what was oil used for. Was it used for ships?
Ships, yeah.
Ships. Okay.
Yep.
Well, something like I always found also like I felt like I was spending a lot of resources to have the resources being mined. Like I had at one point, I think I was rocking like I had like 4 to 5 peons doing each resource for like the trees in there. So I had 10 units right there just being used, and you can only control up to 9 units at a time technically. So you had to do a lot of control and hit them. You have people binded by different keys. Also, like something that I thought was kind of on the annoying side was it took forever just to destroy stuff. Like, even if you had a good group of people, like I'm like, what the hell is the hit points on? Like, I felt like the hit points on some of the buildings were just astronomically way more than they should have been.
Yeah. Until you got the catapults or the ballistas,
those things were nasty.
You know, yeah. Trying to wipe out a village with knights and archers was not easy.
So, speaking of wiping out things not being easy, I had one map. John, if you look at my play count on this thing, it's not as high as yours because I would find I would spend an inordinate amount of time just doing dumb shit. Like... And I restarted because I tried playing on DOSBox, didn't like it, went to GOG. But I had one map where I just kept making peasants, and then I built up like a ton of farms and a ton of stuff, and then I sent a peasant wave in. I beat a level because peasants can attack. I beat a level early on just with peasants, just for the shits and giggles. I had so many peasants.
They can wipe out a village, I guess, if you have the patience.
But in order to do that, like, there's another thing, food. We haven't even talked about food and how that limits you.
I don't know what the max limit is, but, you know, I got over 100 with the farms, but you got to continuously build farms, which take lumber and gold. So in the beginning, it's slow. And a lot of these missions... It's like you just have to build up enough units to survive their little waves. And that's all they do. Like, none of these missions were like, I never lost because they wiped me out, you know? Like, the real challenge was managing your gold versus unit. You know, like, you had to get to the top you could in that mission with the right amount of units, and your attacks had to go very smoothly. Because, like, they wouldn't attack you with a full force. They would send, like, 4 guys every 10 minutes. And it was, like, as long as you have enough people around the base, then you're fine.
I found in early levels I would rely heavily on, like, because I played human, so I'd rely on footmen. But, like, in later levels, I would try to get to knight, like, as soon as I could. Like, I didn't want to dwell too long making a bunch of footmen. I wanted knights out there. So I think there was like a trade-off there as well. Like, you didn't want to waste all your resources on units that weren't going to do you anything. Because, I mean, you're wasting resources, you know, wood, gold, and then at the same time, you've wasted resources building farms to feed that resource. So, like, you're constrained on multiple things. You didn't want to waste... It was very wasteful to spend time buying units that you weren't going to use in the long haul.
Yeah, that's true. And the upgrades cost a lot, too, once you got going.
I mean, that's one thing. The first thing I did,
you know, but it was
worth upgrades. Like, I upgraded as soon as I could.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
you had to. Yeah.
That gives you the edge.
You have to. Yeah.
Right.
You have to.
The catapult ones were huge. Like, you know, one shot from a catapult could wipe out their footmen or archers or axe throwers or whatever in one shot. So that was pretty big. I didn't like going back. I forgot that these units just sat there. If you didn't tell them what to do.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they could be raiding your village, and your guys that were just out of eyesight or earshot or whatever they wouldn't do anything. They'd just sit there.
What do you mean? They could be in eyesight and earshot and still weren't doing anything.
They're just like sitting in the middle of a field, like the whole village is burning, and they're just sitting there. They're like that kid that's like, everyone else on the field is playing baseball, and there's that kid in the outfield picking flowers, like as the ball's landing.
Yeah. Yep.
I left Mike Peter for a minute because I went to get a beer out of the fridge. I had 15 units, like all surrounding, and somehow, like they weren't like all together, like in different groups, but like no more than like where you'd think they're like, oh hey, my two groups are this group of people are dying, I should go and probably do it. Literally nothing. I came back to like only had 5. I had a couple peons left, and like all but like one axe thrower and just a straight orc was just like there. I'm like, what happened, guys? We had like 20 people. What happened? And like 2 archers and freaking a knight went in and destroyed me all.
Oh, I don't know. Speaking of like,
I loved when you
the
clicked
voices
on
were
guys,
so
too.
funny.
Yeah. This game, and it really resonated with me still, was that it was like cool. You know, it had a lot of action, but then it was goofy as fuck at times.
I've never played Warcraft 3, but I've seen clips of it, and I feel like something was lost when they went from 2 to 3. Like, 2 has such a charm to it. I can't put my finger on it, but it's just funny. The stuff, like, you keep cooking on a unit, like the peasants are doing my job, I work all day.
You can make one of the boats barf.
One of the knights, if you keep clicking one of the knights, is like something like, why are you still, stop touching me, or why are you still touching me, or something like that. I was laughing. I'm like, this is funny.
I found out, too, that like the little seals and warthogs, if you click on them enough, you can blow them up. They just explode. Like, yeah, this was one of those games where it was trying to be like cool action, you know, all their artwork for like the little unit profile pictures, and like, you know, the units die and they leave a skeleton, but then like you can blow up a seal, or like you can make a boat puke, or this guy tells you to stop touching you there. It's like, all right, yeah, I do agree with you there. It lost its charm. Warcraft 3 was like, it got nerdy. You know, it tried to be more of a fantasy game and not have that humor. It didn't hit it. I hear you.
Like when I played Command & Conquer, like I knew what I was getting into. Like it was a very serious war game. You know, I guess I had some tongue-in-cheek things later on, but at least the first one was pretty serious. That going over to play this game, it just was so different because it was funny. You know, I don't know why they decided to make this like this high fantasy. Like, there's a bazillion games that are all like stealing from Tolkien. You know what I mean? Keep your charm, keep your originality.
Right? No, they brought in a guy, Dan Meitzen? What was his name? Chris Metzen. They found him somewhere, and they were like, hey, man, we like your art. You want to come work for us? And he had been a geek all his life, and he's like, I want to keep some humor in it, too. And it was just a bunch of geeks playing, you know, different video games in the studio. Like Blizzard in the heyday was a cool work environment. I found a website, gamasutra.com. Yep. And I got some cool info from that on this game, and they have a good series of, there's a blog, and I think it's a podcast as well. Stay a while and listen. Book 2 is part of Story Bundle's Boss Battle Game Bundle. Okay, so it's an audiobook where they go over some of the game development.
Oh, I wish I would have known about that. I would have checked that out. I'd like to have heard what Blizzard was like back then versus now with Activision, I think is who. It's either EA or Activision, some soulless company that's running them into the ground.
It's this grandma's boy.
Right? Must destroy robot thing.
A guy wrote a book called The Tides of Darkness, His name's Aaron Rosenberg, and it's $23.99 on Amazon.
So, guys, if
all
you're
the events
listening
in
out there,
Warcraft 2.
for $23.99, go get this book on Amazon.
Right? Or just watch the movie with Travis Fimmel.
Who is Travis Fimmel?
And support him. Do you ever watch Vikings?
Yeah.
It's Ragnar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
He got famous from that and then got some other roles, but they didn't pan out as well as this one.
it also has Clancy Brown. How the fuck did you skip over Clancy Brown?
What?
Who's
Yeah,
that?
Clancy Brown's in there. Clancy Brown,
He's
Highlander.
Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob.
Wait, what?
He's in Highlander. He's
Dude,
what the fuck is it? He's he's the main villain in Highlander. He's also the
the
dad
Kurgan.
in, Kurgan.
Okay, all right.
He's
he's
also,
also Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob.
also
Is he really?
He's,
Yeah.
Pet Cemetery too.
Oh.
He's in Pet Cemetery 1.
No, Pet Cemetery 1 was that old guy that tried to main accent.
Yeah,
right?
Herman Munster on that round.
Oh.
Oh wait, no,
Oh
Pet
my
Cemetery
God.
2 then.
Yeah.
He's the cop or the dad. The stepdad, I think. And
Man.
actually, there's some really big people in here. Travis Fimmel. Has Dominic Cooper, which if you guys seen the Preacher series on AMC,
Nope.
No.
really good series. It has Ben Foster in it from Breaking Bad.
No.
Has Ben Foster in
That's
Breaking Bad?
Aaron Paul. Ben Foster's from... Ben Foster's been in a lot. I know who he is.
Nick, we should have had you made your own cast and come up with your own movie. You've got so much skill with that.
No more casting. You guys belittled my casting ideas.
No, we didn't belittle that. That was fantastic. So random.
Whoa.
Katie Holmes will play the ogre.
No, it's not going to be Katie Holmes. Probably the chick that played Donna in that 70s show.
What?
Oh. God. There was a funny quote that I didn't get to mention when we were talking development, is that when they were like, hey guys, we need a sequel in a year, and everybody's like, oh shit, panic, oh my god. There was an idea kicking around that they'd open another portal, right? So they opened the first portal in Warcraft 1, and then somehow another one opened, and it was going to be in the modern day world, where orcs would be fighting Marines and dragons battling F-16s.
Oh my god.
And then the guy that was the narrator from Warcraft 1 said, no way, that's dumb. Don't do that.
He saved gaming history.
He saved it. This guy's a legend. Bill Roper, for reference, Bill Roper narrated this, did a lot of voices. He's awesome. He's done a lot, man. He was a lot of Diablo as well, I think.
I feel like we should write him a letter and just thank him for averting a terrible timeline. We have an obsession with timelines on this show, and that would be an awful, awful timeline.
Oh. Command & Conquer Warcraft mashup. There we go.
The Brotherhood of Nod allied with the orcs, and GDI allied with, and then you might as well add in Red Alert. Like you have the Soviets allied with, I don't know.
Soviets and orcs go together, man. The Horde, one for the Horde. You know, it's like communism.
I didn't know we were going to go political on this.
We try to avoid it, and then John goes full on into it, and it's just like it's an editing thing. I tell myself, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to edit that out.
I put the orcs more like the Democrats, let's be honest.
Oh, Jesus. We gotta make a. Of course, we've stopped and started this so many times. I don't even have a marker to tell myself how to edit that out.
You have to edit like 50% of my stuff out because I got sick again randomly. I was fine all day until right now.
The COVID hit and you were done.
I expended my voice capacity for the day.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could talk. The story was pretty minimal in this game. There's a lot of strategy. It got redundant towards the end. I really wish we got to play this online.
Act 2, dude.
Yeah.
Well, until you got to the full capacity of like how many, the full top tier units and all that shit.
Oh, I think that's the expansion though. That's because I think you spend this whole game building, and then it's like, oh, cool, I have a bunch of cool stuff. Too bad the game's over. And I think that's why the expansion came out, and I think the expansion just assumes, like, okay, you know how to play this. We're not going to hold your hand and teach you things. Like,
it was the same stuff.
Was it?
Well, I think
it was just like a couple heroes, but it was the same units in like the orc world, and instead of trees, there were mushroom-looking things.
Just a quick palette swap.
Well, this one.
Yeah.
This one, like, Warcraft 2, wasn't this where, like, expansions started becoming a thing, though? Like, is this where...
They did release this a year after, and then mashed it up and put it on Mac and, like, another system, I think. But Warcraft 1 didn't have anything. Warcraft 2 did. It had Beyond the Portal. And it was, like, the Battle Chest Edition included everything. And they, resold it for a good markup.
This was almost like in the same vein as, like, what Diablo 2 did. They ended up having a Battle Chest Edition as well, where they add two new groups.
I have that. I have the Diablo 2 expansion. I have the StarCraft expansion, but I didn't get the Warcraft 2 one.
What amazed me is how long those battle chest things stuck around on the shelves at Walmart. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it wasn't that long ago that I went and I bought my Diablo 2 battle chest because it was still on the shelves at Walmart.
Yeah, I think, like 2005?
Yeah, it was late.
Yep.
If not later than that, come to think of it.
Yeah. I really wish we got to play this game against each other on Battle.net. That would have been
well, you guys tried. You attempted a couple times, didn't you?
We did, and it doesn't work. I don't know what we got to do. You got to go through like the Russian server or something, and I was sketched out.
I don't know why the game is set up like this, and I don't know why the version... So, for the listeners, we got our copy off GOG. We did not play through DOSBox. So I don't know if folks are running this through, an old copy through DOSBox if they have an easier time. I suspect they're going to run the same thing that we did. But there is some kind of issue where...
I'm going to pee real quick. Hold on.
What?
He said something about peeing.
Did he pee his pants?
Maybe.
The first one of us that pees their pants recording an episode wins.
I mean, at that point, then next gift is definitely buying Depends for one of you.
Do you think we should do an entire episode with Depends on?
I mean, we can.
That would be. I feel like our wives.
We can call the episode the Dependables.
Oh Jesus! What we should do is we should do a Final Fantasy 3 episode for Super Nintendo because John and I love it so much. So we'll do our 3-hour episode. We'll just be pissing ourselves. We'll just keep going without pause.
But do you think you could sit in your chair, even when it depends on, and just pee?
I don't know, man.
Knowingly
yes.
pee, like...
Have you ever swam down a river? Nick, you and I did the Saco float like 2 years ago. We could pee ourselves.
I peed the whole time, but to start, literally, and I can't believe this episode's going here already, but it took me like a good chunk. Like I was pretty drunk into that for me to like, you know what? I got pee, and I don't feel like stopping and whipping out and there. I'm gonna float and pee.
Yeah, but
so like.
The water takes it away from you, though. Like, if you're wearing a Depends, you're sitting in that pee. Like, it's going nowhere.
It's nowhere.
John, you're still getting some Depends now.
So, speaking of water and pee and stuff like that, I thought the water element of this game was fun. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I thought that
The ship battles were cool. The turtles fucked me over a lot of the time because I wasn't prepared.
I never made the flying units that I needed. I'd make maybe one, and I never made enough to really have them be useful against that.
And you couldn't build the turrets like right near the water because there was like the good land that you could build on, and then the shore land where you couldn't, you know?
Yep.
Because you could only build on that certain part. But yeah, and troop transports, you had to build like 4 or 5 of those. I always grouped my units when I was doing a major battle, like the knights, the archers, the ballistas. I would each put as many as I could on a transport, and then I had the hotkeys like control 1, 2, and 3, 4, whatever, assigned to that. And I didn't use spells at all.
I never used spells.
They were really hard to micromanage because, like, with the paladins, you had to heal constantly when you upgraded the knights, and that just got annoying. With the ogres, or with the orcs, sorry, when you got the ogre mage, right, you could just cast that bloodlust before you even got to the battle, and all your units would be jacked up. So it was already out of the way, but you couldn't heal them, so, that was out of the question. But, like, they were already overpowered, so you were good to go. So I feel like there was, I always was like, I wonder what race is better, which has the edge for the units. And it really was a wash, except for that paladin versus ogre.
The differences between the orc and human, from what I was reading, are so slim that it's like, I think it's an extremely balanced game, which is crazy, right? So, like, games nowadays, they'll dump it out, and then they'll find out that the game's not balanced, and then they'll patch the hell out of it. Like, they do it with Smash constantly. Like, all these... Yeah. I think they've done it with StarCraft, like, 1.5 billion times, the balance. I think this one, out of the box, was balanced. Like, I think the archers have the edge over the axe throwers, just because they've got better range. But I think your ogre mage, is better... Yep. Has better setup than the other one, so maybe it all comes out in the wash.
Yep. I think the Death Knight is better than the wizard or the whatever the human mage guy is. I screwed myself over on like the final battle. I pumped out all the Griffin Riders, right? And I would send them in, and they would surround whatever they were attacking, and their splash damage would kill each other. So I was like, oh, crap. So I loved also that, like, I used cheats to speed the game up, and you could find the codes. Like, I remember that's one of the first things I found online when, dial up in, like, 95, 96, when we were first getting online. And you pass around school, like, oh, did you find this one? Oh, no, I didn't find that one. So it was kind of cool. You could get 10,000 gold and wood, and then, like, the screen could be revealed, and there was one to just skip missions, and there was one that would play I'm a magic man or something.
Oh, Medieval Man.
Medieval Man.
Do you know what that,
yeah,
do you know what that is?
Song.
They're
what is that?
They're making fun of Command and Conquer. There's a rivalry because there's a song in Command and Conquer called Target. And the whole song, the guy's just like, I'm a mechanical. That's what they're spoofing off him. That's so funny.
No kidding. That's good. I like that stuff.
Why do you keep touching me? In the age of chaos. In the age of chaos. In the age of chaos, two factions battle for dominance. In the age of chaos. In the age of chaos. In the age of chaos, two factions battle for dominance.
I don't know. I liked it. It didn't hold up in my eyes as to what I thought it was as a kid, but that happens a lot. And playing so many other strategy games like that just built off of these ones, obviously those are going to be better. So this one was tough to go back to in some regards.
I found the controls hard to get adjusted to first. again, I've said this a bazillion times, but I played Command and Conquer, so going from how that controls to this was quite an adjustment. But once I got a feel for it, I liked it. I expected this to just be like, oh my god, this is just Command and Conquer with a different skin. Because that's my only frame of reference. And I was pleasantly surprised that it was, definitely something different. It had a different feel to it, which, more than just like a different skin, which was nice.
It's nice playing
I think it's held up. What's that?
I think it's just nice playing an actual traditional computer game versus.
Well, we've done
some
console games. Yeah.
It was a nice break from having the gamepad in and just going back to the keyboard and mouse.
Matt, yeah, you had Cave Story, but that was kind of it
didn't really count.
Unique game. Yeah, I wanted to get a PC game in there because I did a lot of PC gaming in my childhood, so that was a big part of my stuff.
Matt, I think we should really get Diablo 2 going.
I want to do Diablo 2.
It's still huge. It still has community. It's still playable on Battle.net.
And I know we can connect. I know that we won't have the trouble that we had with this one with the latency. I
wonder if my characters are still alive on there.
No, they're gone after so much time.
I had some really cool characters.
I was thinking that we have a guest, either Dan or Justin or one of those guys that used to play with us come on when we do Diablo 2. Because we got to play Diablo 2 at some point. It's just, it's got to happen. But, yeah, I digress. Yeah, this game was good. I'd recommend this game. I think it's held up a lot better than people think.
I almost picked StarCraft, but this one was more retro, so I went with this one. Yeah, I wouldn't give it a perfect score, but it's good.
It was kind of hard to rate because, like I said, for RTS, I never played this one until literally this game. Right now, as someone in my 30s, so it was. I feel like I'm giving it a grade just based on now and not a previous experience. I'd say it's a 5 out of 10. It's fun.
Ooh, that's low.
Yeah. It controlled well. I played better, and that's what I'm comparing it to. I'm comparing it against StarCraft 2, and even later RTSs through this. So, not knowing what it was prior and having any, I think, emotional attachment to it before. Yeah, it was solid. It was a decent game, but it just it didn't hold up as far as graphics wise, and and it's to be expected, I guess, from a game from 1995, 94.
Cuts John's soul.
So deep. No, I hear you, man. You'll always kind of be disagreeing in some fashion with Matt and I because we share so many similar viewpoints.
And we're snobs.
But yeah. I hold the most history with this game, and I probably had less fun than Matt did just because it got so repetitive. But that's the nature of it.
It might be playstyle too. Like I when I play a game like this, I drag my feet and I do dumb things. Like, can I fill a unit on every map, build a base on every map? I kind of make my own terms on victory,
Yeah.
So I tinker. I do dumb things on strategy games.
I've become way more impatient and impulsive than I was as a kid. So I've changed my play style since then. So that probably impacted it.
I think in later RTSs took from that this game did play kind of slow. Like you had to do quite a bit just to get your troops to one spot. You couldn't just trek across. You had to, okay, I got all my troops built. Oh, okay, now in this one I have to build all these carriers to carry my guys over. And then it wasn't hard for your guys, especially if they're low level or early on, to get wiped out pretty quickly if you weren't or managing them properly. then you had to go back.
Just type in "deck me out" and you'd be all set.
I mean, something the thing I actually did really enjoy was doing land bombardment with the boats. That was something that actually I took from this, and it was really fun. Just like going down the coast of the enemy's territory and just bombarding shit.
Oh yeah, I love the ships. I built a ton of them.
Like that was my favorite thing, and doing sea battles. That was probably what I really enjoyed about this game, and I thought it was really fun.
I remember as a kid, I made up my own game called Watercraft.
So
where I was
you're playing.
It could be Warcraft on water, just water.
Let's be honest, John. You were literally playing Waterworld then.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
My
biggest.
I suck at these games though. I realized that playing this, like John, you were like, "Oh, let's get online, let's play," and I was like, "Oh, it doesn't work," and you're like, "Oh, but we could try this," and I'm like, no, that's okay, that's all right." I know going into it, I'm not gonna win because I've seen people how they play, like people who know what they're doing with a real time strategy. Like Justin's really good at them. I like to sit there and just like, I'm going to keep building my base. I'm going to build more defenses. I'm going to build more defenses. And like, that's, I think, what people out of instinct do. But that's not what someone who's good at this game will do. Like someone who's good at this game, they're constantly attacking. Like the best defense is a good offense kind of deal. Like, and that's just not how my brain works. I want to bunker down and then send a wave. And that's just a recipe to get your ass kicked. So I was not super upset that that we couldn't get that latency issue figured out with BattleNet.
I remember playing in high school. We had a few guys that did StarCraft, so we battled a lot. And I did exactly what you did, Matt. I built up my base. I was the Protoss, and I just built the cannons. Like I was like, I'm never gonna get beat because I'm just going to build up all these photon, whatever they were, the little ground cannons.
Yep.
And somebody came along with like 20 battle cruisers and just wiped me out. I was like, oh, okay, all right, that's what we're doing. Yep. So I reinvented myself after that. But yeah, that's true. Well, gentlemen, it's been a weird episode. I got sick. Nick's computer died.
We didn't even do pickups. That got left behind.
Oh, did I tell you? Did I talk about my CIB I picked up last episode?
No.
I didn't talk about NBA Jam.
Nope.
Nice.
Oh,
I love NBA Jam.
So
what'd you get it for? What system?
I got it for the Sega. Oh yeah, Sega. I got it for the Sega.
Nice.
So I got NBA Jam case and box with everything. It was $6.
Nice.
Or $5, I think. Case of box, which is already I checked against price. Like I checked against price charting. And I think it was like $15 and everything complete. So I'm like, oh, snag, and I got it at our local Bull Moose, and because I had points saved up, I actually got it for free.
Nice, even better.
So take that, and I had to get. The only reason that came about was because I had to go buy a new Wii block for my power block because my Wii died, and I was really worried that it was the Wii system itself, and I was happy it was just the power block.
That's a relief.
Oh, yeah.
But I did realize that as well. I do need to get myself a GameCube controller so I can play GameCube games on my Wii.
Beware of buying a Wavebird, man. Those are not cheap, especially the receiver.
Buy the Mad Catz wireless controller.
Just buy a wired or something.
Yeah, I was hoping to see if I could just buy this old wired one.
Yeah, it's your best bet.
Because I do want to start playing some GameCube games.
Hell yeah. John, what'd you get? Or Nick, do you have any other pickups? Or
Actually, I think I have a good chunk of it. Other pickup is, because we just had Christmas, obviously. This comes out in January, but had Christmas, and I got a gift card to Target, so I ended up picking up Breath of the Wild. So I am now in Breath of the Wild.
So I think I texted you about this, Nick.
Yeah.
When our
I'm
podcast
angry. Right? I wasn't be honest. When I'm actually before you because I think you're lead. I'm angry now that I can't be playing it.
Yeah,
recording.
No. That was you put us through Pokemon Crystal, and then John put us through Space Station Silicon Valley, and I was like, I don't want to play these. I want to play Breath of the Wild. I'm so angry that I'm doing this. Yeah, the podcast is done. We're over. This is our farewell episode because Nick got Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I mean,
that game will suck you in, man.
Well, Breath of the Wild, I'll say, is a nice pickup game too. And I think what helps me is I have a Switch Lite, so I can just boom play. I play like an hour into it. Though I will say I do find myself getting lost into it because this game is fucking huge.
Yeah, it was nice knowing you. You were a good friend. Well, maybe you'll resurface in a couple months. Probably not.
Yeah.
After he stocks up on 30
you know
durian
what?
fruit.
Guys, I can't do this. Let's hear your other pickups because we have a great, exciting game coming up next.
Oh, yeah. John, you want to go for it?
I got a classic Wii controller, and that's been it.
Well, I need to get one of those too.
Bold.
Yep. I had two of the ones with the hand grips, right? And I'd search on Amazon, and they were like the third party, whatever. So I didn't want to do it. And then somebody on Facebook was like, "Hey, I'm selling a Wii one," because I keep my eye out for stuff like that. Because I homebrewed the Wii, so it's like if I want to play any older games, that's a good way to do it. And so I picked up a third one of those, and just one more until I can have all the old games and 4 people playing any title I don't have on an actual system.
Nice.
So that's going to be nice. Matt, what about you?
December, birthday month, Christmas month, banner month for pickups for me. So I'm flush on this one. I can't remember if I mentioned it in the last episode. Sorry if I've already mentioned this, but the one of the things I picked up, it was right around the time we were recording, was UN Squadron for the Super Nintendo. Did I mention that last time?
No, you did not.
So the Super Nintendo really isn't a big shooter. The console's just not good for shooters. There's relatively a few, but they all suffer from slowdown. But UN Squadron is one of those ones that's like top of all the list, and it's a fantastic game, made by Capcom. It's got kind of like a pick your level. I don't know. It's fun, so I picked that up for Super Nintendo. And then I've been neglecting my Switch for months, so I've kind of gone nuts on Switch games. Like for my birthday, Nikki got me Mario Kart 8. I had that already for Wii U, but it's nice to have that I can play with folks now. No one ever played it with me on Wii U because who had a Wii U?
I'm never playing with you again because you're a fucking savage.
Guys, there's a Diablo 4 coming out. Sorry.
I see that. Hopefully, I heard they're going back to their roots on making I heard Diablo 3 is kind of a little brighter than Diablo 1 and 2, so I heard they're kind of going back to kind of a darker setting. The other things I picked up
on my account, by the way.
What's that?
I have a credit on my account.
For what?
50 cents for my Blizzard account.
Whoa,
you're rich. So the other things I picked up Octopath Traveler for Switch. And then I also picked up Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
Ooh, tell me how that is.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm pretty excited to not be neglecting my Switch so much. Although, it sounds like Nick is going to put me on the Switch next week anyways. So, it'll get some love.
I am.
Nicholas, what are you doing to us next week?
Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Jesus.
It is a bitch, may I tell you. Because it's so fucking hard. Like, I've been watching playthroughs.
I love that.
I am so sorry, guys. How about that?
I'm so happy I let this happen. After all the shit you guys gave me at Battle of Olympus, all the shit.
God, why
and then
did
you picked this,
me?
and I laughed. I laughed so hard to myself. I'm so happy we're doing this.
I'm just thankful that the Switch has a rewind function. I tried it. I've tried it without cheating. I died hard so fast.
Oh,
it was bad.
It is a bitch.
All right, fellas.
All right, call it.
That concludes this episode of Spin Dash. Matt, what do you think? You want to plug some socials?
Yeah, so
how are those going?
So if you guys like this episode, please subscribe. If you really like this episode or the other episodes that you've listened to so far, please leave us a kind review. It doesn't cost anything, and it definitely helps us out. Bad reviews, we'll take them too, but send them right to John. He likes reading through hate mail, so that's good times.
Feed off of it.
Also, we need feedback. OnlyFans page. Yay or nay?
Oh, yeah. Did that get lost?
Oh, it might have.
Yeah.
So guys,
we lost a whole conversation about our OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, yay or nay?
Nay.
John is our model.
Posing with games.
I work for a very politically correct company, so if it got out that I had that.
The only way it's getting out that they have it is they're subscribing, and hey, blackmail.
Paying for your Princess Leia costume, posing with the games.
Nick's dropped my last name like 7 times already.
Hey, we edited that shit out.
What was that?
That was me hitting my glass on my glass.
Oh my god. Yeah. Also, find us on OnlyFans. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at spin-retro. I've done a shitty job lately. Nick, you gotta bail me out here and there, buddy, because John's certainly not doing it.
I know. I should get better on it. I'll cut some time to put in. I've been doing a little more social on my business page, so I can help out. We'll spin some ideas after what we want to do.
Good deal.
Good deal. All right.
Good night, everybody.
Night.